All right, we're going to get started with today's workshop for building your GPA. This is the third presentation in our series for getting started for professional schools. Like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, or we can pause and have a little conversation. I'm not going to do like introductions or anything. We've kind of gone on for those in past workshops, but you can always refer to our website if you need to know any contacts. So today we're going to talk about strategies for building and maintaining your GPA. We'll talk about how to learn to balance coursework and utilize academic resources, as well as different GPA calculations and some information regarding the entrance exams for each of the professional schools. So there's a few different GPAs that you'll want to be aware of. Certain professional schools calculate a separate math and science GPA. So they're going to look at your overall GPA from what you graduate at Grand Valley, but then they're also going to take out your math and science courses and calculate a separate GPA. So there is a BCPM GPA, which is biology, chemistry, physics, and math. MD medical schools, dental, and podiatry schools calculate the BCPM GPA. BCP is just biology, chemistry, and physics, and that's going to be applicable to DO schools, vet schools, pharmacy, and optometry schools. MD and DO and pharmacy schools also calculate a non-science GPA. So all the classes that aren't included in that science GPA are going to be utilized here. Professional schools are also going to consider upwards trajectory in your GPA trend. So if you ever have maybe a not so hot semester, showing that you can improve your GPA is also going to be something that they're going to consider. GPA calculations. So when it comes to repeating a class, Grand Valley is only going to use your most recent attempt for your undergraduate GPA. So what we mean by that is if you like fail a course or you get a D, but you need a C in the class in order to apply to professional school, you retake the class and you get an A. We're only going to use the A. The F is still going to appear on your transcript, but it's not going to be included in that GPA calculation. Professional schools are going to recalculate your GPA using all attempts of a course. So they're going to add that F or D back into that GPA calculation, which is going to bring it back down a little bit. So that's just something to be aware of. Your final Grand Valley GPA might not necessarily be the full reflection that the medical schools or professional schools are going to be looking at. Transfer credits are something they're also going to include. So at Grand Valley, we don't include transfer credits in your undergraduate GPA calculation. Your grades still appear on your transcript. We still, apply them towards graduation, but we don't put that in your GPA calculation. Professional schools are going to, again, recalculate your GPA using grades from all institutions. So if you dual enrolled in high school, and then maybe you took a summer class somewhere else, or you transferred institutions, you're basically just going to get a big GPA calculation from the classes you took everywhere. AP and transfer credits. Professional schools may or may not accept AP or community college credit for prerequisite courses. So we strongly recommend taking all prerequisite courses and all of your science courses at Grand Valley or another four-year institution with a letter grade, meaning not, pass, fail, or for credit, no credit, because that's not something that's going to get factored into that GPA. So you want to research your institution to make sure that you have met all the prerequisite requirements for the professional schools that you intend to apply to. This document that I've linked here is going to give you that information. It's a list of like a database of the requirements for each school. So I'm actually gonna pull that up really quick. Oh, okay, I was trying to pause the recording. I think I paused my screen share, so give me a second. All right, so this list is what the QR code will take you to. And this is, like I said, just a list of the requirements for each program. So for, let's see, for medical school, if we look at this pre-med course prerequisites, we're gonna see this giant file that lists all of the institutions in the country and their requirements. So you can see here, if they allow AP credit for a certain class or an online course or community college credit. So this is just something to kind of be aware of if you did take any community college courses or you transferred an AP credit. It might I guess kind of determine what schools you can apply to. Most of them will accept, especially like the biology and the chemistry, those introductory classes. But just something to be aware of and to utilize as a resource. And there's different ones for all of the schools. If we look at chiropractic, chiropractic is a little bit more general. So you can look at that website here. But yeah, hopefully that's helpful to explore. All right. GPA targets. So each program, each professional school is going to have a minimum cumulative GPA of a 3.2 apply. But then they all have different, kind of averages and targets for what is expected. So listed here are the averages for GPAs of last year's admitted students. So just something to kind of be aware of if you're worried about your GPA or wondering where you might stand compared to other applicants. These are going to be our goals. So I've listed the overall GPAs and then the science GPAs. Chiropractic is a little bit different. You just need a minimum of a 3-point. They don't calculate separate GPAs. Their requirements are a little bit looser. So that's just something to be aware of. Oops. You also have some options for a gap year. So if your GPA isn't quite where you want it to be, when it comes to applying, or maybe you don't get into a school and your GPA is part of that reason, you do have a few options to kind of boost that and become a competitive applicant for the next cycle. So there's something called a post-baccalaureate degree. These are designed to support the transition from undergraduate to professional school. There's a list or a database of like official post-bac programs, but it's also something that you could do here at Grand Valley. You can just retake a few classes to kind of get a new GPA built. It's usually about 24 credits. And if they're typically or mostly science classes, then that's something that they're going to look at. It goes back to that upwards trajectory. So they're going to look at these higher level classes a little bit more at a higher consideration than your undergraduate classes. You could also go to graduate school. You could do a master's program like in BMS or biology or some sort of related field, or do a graduate certificate. And again, they're going to look at the most recent credits compared to your undergraduate credits. And that upwards trajectory again is key. Something to know for a lot of post-bac programs and graduate school programs, they do still want to see at least a 3-point minimum. But that's just something, just kind of a general rule of thumb. And both of these options serve to demonstrate that academic growth. They work to improve your science and overall GPA. Again, strengthen your application, gives you more time to gain research or clinical experience and fill in some knowledge gaps you might have. Just as a reminder, the withdrawal deadline is coming up in a little less than 2 weeks now. So November 8th by 5 p.m. is the last time you can withdraw a class from this semester. This will result in a W on your transcript just to indicate that you withdrew from a course. This has no impact on your GPA. So again, when we're thinking back to the professional schools recalculating your GPA, a W is going to be better than an F or a D because there's no numerical value attached to it, so they can't include it in that GPA calculation. So if you're wondering if you should withdraw from a course, definitely connect with your professors and your academic advisor. We can have that conversation if this makes more sense and then retaking it next semester, or if you want to write it out and see kind of how your semester is going to end up. All right, so when it comes to entrance exams, you're going to want to take your classes seriously, as these are your preparation. The material from your classes is what's going to be covered on the entrance exam. It's helpful if you can keep your notes just for review and familiarize yourself with the learning objectives for each exam. So we know that medical school, dental school, optometry school, they all have their specific exams, and then some of the programs also require the GRE. So you want to make sure you know what exam you need to prepare for if you need to prepare for one. Some programs like chiropractic don't have an entrance exam. So make sure you know what you're preparing for. Your classes are also a good way to build confidence and stamina when it comes to test taking. So definitely take all of your exams in those classes seriously as well. We also have some targets and averages for each program and how much they factor into the application. And those can be found on our test prep resources here and in the fact sheets that we have provided for each program. So if you don't know where to find those or you have more specific questions about that, definitely make an appointment with an academic advisor and we can help clarify and talk a little bit more in depth about those targets and averages. So here are some of the courses that you're going to use as preparation for your exams. So you'll see that the chemistry sequences are weighted pretty heavily in all of these exams. Your biology and BMS courses are going to be helpful as well, and physics, especially for the MCAT. We've also broken it down by what section of the entrance exam is going to cover those course topics. So this is just kind of a general guide for what classes are going to be kind of, paired together. So if you're wondering how you can study for the quantitative reasoning section of the DAT, these are the notes and stuff that you're going to want to review and look at while you're preparing for those classes or for those tests. Okay, so now I just want to talk about some resources that we have here on campus and how they can help you in your classes for your GPA and for your test preparation. So the Tutoring and Reading Center obviously is going to be a big one. So they can help with individual tutoring, especially in math and stats and the Chemistry Success Center as well. They do scheduled appointments and drop-in hours, and they're located in Henry Hall. You can schedule an appointment through Navigate the same way that you would schedule an academic advising appointment. So they're a really good resource if you're struggling with course content. Faculty office hours are also really, really important to utilize. They can help clarify the specific course material that you're learning. They can help with personalized feedback. They're the ones that are interacting with you on a weekly basis and seeing your performance on exams, quizzes, assignments. So they can definitely help a little bit more specifically than maybe the tutoring center and other students can help with. But it also serves to build relationships with faculty. So when it comes to needing a shadowing site or a letter of recommendation, they're building those relationships is going to help kind of connect you with other people. SASE, the Student Academic Success Center, is also a very helpful resource. So they can help with more general skills than the tutoring center, more so study skills, especially for science and lab courses. If you have any like test anxiety with those entrance exams coming up, they can kind of help give you some strategies as well, especially when it comes to organizing and time management. They offer both individual success coaching and different workshops. So keep an eye out on their workshops, which are always posted on their website and the Grand Valley event calendar. They offer drop-ins around campus as well. So you can find them at Kirkhoff, at the library, OMA, or obviously their office. You can also schedule appointments with them through Navigate. They do have a study skills workshop coming up in November, and I have included the link for you to RSVP if you're interested in attending that. I will also send out these slides and we will link them for you to refer back to. Student accessibility resources, SAR, formerly DSR, they can help give you custom support and accommodations for any physical or learning disability. They typically do scheduled appointments, so you'll want to go to their website and fill out their form to get connected with one of their advisors. Okay, so this was a little activity that we had planned. So we have everything linked in here. If you've attended a previous workshop or you have an action plan already started, then you can open that up and use it to calculate your GPA. Otherwise, let me show you how that's going to look. All right, so here we are looking at the action plan. If you scroll through these tabs and go to the GPA calculator, you'll see this is where you're going to calculate your overall GPA. So if you have any transfer credits, you'll want to include those in here too. So you can do this up to your current semester, every class that you've taken, to get a total GPA that the professional schools are going to be looking at. And then the next tab over we have is the science GPA. So you're going to want to use all of your bio, BMS, chemistry, CMB, physics courses. If you're applying to programs that include math courses, throw those in there as well. And then you'll kind of see where you're at currently in your science, math and science GPA. So it's helpful to kind of fill this out where you're at now, and then after each term update it, rather than waiting until you're ready to apply and then working on putting all of that in there. Make sure that you include any repeats. As I mentioned before, they will include all of the attempts of the class in that. So this is just, again, helpful for you to see where you lie within the scale of GPA. Okay, back to the presentation. So this can kind of help you, see, do you need to retake classes again to improve your GPA? Do you have any things to be kind of like concerned about? Do we need to kind of think about a post-bac program as we're nearing application time? It's just helpful to have that awareness for yourself. Okay, so that is pretty much the end of the GPA portion. We do have another workshop coming up for engaging in extracurriculars. We'll talk about campus activities that can help kind of boost your application and just give you experiences in different areas. Explore community opportunities, volunteering, and talk about extracurricular activities that align specifically with your personal and career goals. So, as always, we are offering 3 dates for this, 2 in person and 1 virtual. So you can RSVP using this QR code. All right, and I'm going to end the recording and then we can talk about any questions.